Murder In Successville is a immersive, improvised comedy show, which is basically not a sketch show, and it's not a sitcom. It's just a batshit crazy show where each week a celebrity comes in. There's been a murder mystery. They've got to solve it in a town that's just completely made up of people doing celebrity impressions. It's like Stella Street meets Sin City, but it's been made by a group of idiots.
We have a receipt.
What's on the receipt? Read it out.
A green salad.
Do it in an Italian accent so we can set the mood.
A green salad.
About 3 years ago, amazing pair of producers called Avril Sperry and Andy Brereton came to me, and they had this mad idea, which sort of really played to my strengths really as a comedy sort of performer, which was improvisation. And it was sort of, you know, it took inspiration from like Saturday Night Live and a little bit from things like Morecambe and Wise, and then sort of the quick nature, quick fire of something like Family Guy. But we just all just wanted to make something that was really silly and fun. And you know, it's, like I say, it's been 3 years of pilots and teasers, but you know, I think we've done something that's a bit different. D.I. Sleet is just it's like an amuse-bouche of all the different detectives that I either grew up watching or I now love. So there's a bit of Bergerac there, a little bit of Columbo. I'd be lying if I said there was a bit of Dick Van Dyke from Diagnosis Murder. And alongside, sort of, we kind of wanted to have someone who's just a bit broken, a bit tragic. I mean, the joke in the show is always on Sleet. So we sort of played up to those sort of stereotypes of his wife's left and he's a drunk. But yeah, he's just a big, lovable idiot who's just trying to help these people out, but fuck up the dad as much as he can.
Okay, kid. You now should be inside the mind of the killer. What car do you drive?
I don't drive.
No, you're the murderer, not you.
Oh.
This is the mind of the murderer.
Okay.
What car do you drive?
A Fiat.
Color?
Red.
I mean the guy who did it.
Italian looking.
If you ask me, this has all the markings of a gangland hit.
I don't think the tragic side of it is quite me, but there's a side of me that just loves messing with people. I love awkwardness. Social awkwardness is my favourite thing. If someone's socially awkward in any kind of situation, I'll sit and watch them. Because I knock over drinks. I say the wrong thing at dinner parties, if I'm ever invited to dinner parties. So yeah, there's a massive part of me that just without any finer point on it, likes to fuck with people. What we wanted was a real sort of mixed bag of celebrities. We wanted people from different backgrounds, people who were going to bring something different to the show, because that essentially brings out a different side of the character for me, and it makes the show sort of fresh and feel new. So we always wanted to have someone like Deborah Meaden, who was a sort of strong female sort of character who's going to come in and sort of really give it to me and give as good as she got. And then we wanted sort of your Louis Smiths, someone who sort of, I mean, Louis is hilarious, he's brilliant in it, and he really slowly, out of all of them, his journey's brilliant, because he sort of becomes funnier and funnier as it goes on. So yeah, Dermot O'Leary was just amazing. If you've ever met Dermot, he's one of the funniest, loveliest men you'll ever meet, but to get Dermot playing a hard-nosed cop is something quite amazing, and it's real fun. The celebrity cast were all so much fun, but the actual actors, the impressionists, were just all of them remarkable. We've got such a spectrum of your Francis Barbers, your Tony Ways, your Harry Peacocks, who are established sort of actors coming in and doing sort of Niall Horan or something different. Colin Holt and Carrie Ad Lloyd are just impeccable. You know, every scene they're in with. Like, there's times where I was speechless just on how good they are and the quickness of their minds with doing an impression. But there's like Jenny Bede, Marie Lawrence and Luke Kempner are sort of relatively new performers, but they're just amazing. You know, it's such a wealth of sort of young character actor stroke comedians coming up in this country, and it's a real pleasure to be a part of that and work with such sort of strong performers. Well, the show is really, I mean, as much as it's improvised, I think the sort of basis to any improvisation is sort of trust, really, with your other performers. But it's also, we know what the story is, we know what the ABC is, and we kind of know in every scene where we've got to get to. But the improvisation side of it comes in with every time that you're doing anything. You've got you've got Dermot, or you've got Deborah, or you've got someone who's doing something a bit different and throwing sort of like a spanner in the works. So as long as you know where you've got to go to, you can kind of always get there, and that's the great part. And when you're working with people like Cariad or Colin or Luke Kempner, you kind of want to push them, and you want them to sort of go off script and be as funny. You want funny people being funny, and that's from the celebrities we had to the amazing cast that surrounded us. We were very lucky that they were all funny people, and that's really what the show is. I'm just the idiot in the middle of it. I'd love David Beckham, just because I'm a massive football fan. He'd be amazing. But Sarah Milligan, I think, would be hilarious. I love Sarah Milligan. I think she's one of the funniest people I've watched. Catherine Ryan would be good. And Danny Dyer. I think Danny Dyer would be great. But to be honest with you, the fun part of it is never knowing. I'd love Claire Balding to do it. I just think the side of it is kind of not knowing who's coming, and that moment that they walk into the office, you get the surprise. Are they going to be into it, or are they not? You want them to throw themselves into it, really. I think my career, my life has been a sort of series of events, from not really being good at anything, from school to leaving school to doing numerous jobs, and always been bobbing at them, but always having that one thing that wherever you were, you'd have a laugh, and that probably when you're on a building site or in a restaurant or whatever you're doing, it doesn't sometimes work for you. But it was always just sort of, I never really planned on it being as amazing as it has been, and being able to work in so many different shows and sort of, touch wood, have a career in this game. But it's sort of, it's a weird thing. I sort of take it as it comes, and it's nice to sort of think, actually, I think I'm quite good at this, rather than being 200 foot up in the air on the Shard, worried about dropping a brick on someone's head. It's an amazing job to do, and then I've been very lucky to have had a career where you're working with different people and different projects, and people trust you enough to come up with different characters and different ways of doing things. It's exciting. It's exciting times. Yeah, I mean, I think like a real outside bet, but I never thought I'd have a chance. I remember going to the job centre and saying to the guy in the job centre, look, it was, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to be a comedian. And he was like, that's not going to happen. You're not going to, there's no chance. So, a job in a bakery, what else would you want to do? And I was like, well, I don't know, like being an astronaut. And then he was like, that's not going to happen. So I remember going back 2 weeks later, and he went, have you done anything about the jobs that you're looking for? And I was like, well, I did a couple of stand-up gigs. I watched Star Wars a couple of times. And he was just, I never thought I'd get here. I just generally, it's been hard work. It's been crappy little gigs and small little jobs and making videos of your own. And it's hard work. That's the be-all and end-all. It's just drive, and it's, when you get your knocks in this game, there's always going to be knocks, and people are always going to, there's always going to be rejection. It's that's either going to break you or make you. And I think Rocky Balboa said that it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. So I watch that. I have that as a clip on my phone.
But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.
And I play it all the time, and that's how I get through life. Steve Coogan, massively. I sort of remember going to watch The Man Who Is and just being blown over by how good he is. And Lee Francis, who's sort of now I've worked with quite a lot, and for me, I think Lee Francis is maybe the best sort of character actor I've sort of, and best actor. He's a remarkably talented man. Just from as a creative person, sort of for everything really. The guy can draw, he can write, he can do every kind of voice. He's hilarious, and I've been very lucky really to sort of have him as someone sort of to look up to in a sort of a spiritual way, I guess. Not as physically, he's not taller than me, but he's an amazing guy to work with. So Lee and like Steve, I guess sort of a lot of American references really, like Will Ferrell, I love, and anything like that, any kind of sort of that American Danny McBride, that sort of John Apatow school of sort of comedy I really like. But silliness, Monty Python, yeah, just I like stuff that's just silly. And sometimes you can overthink comedy, and I just like stuff that just makes you laugh. I'm never going to do anything that's going to make you go, oh, actually, that's a really considerate point. I'm an idiot. That's all I'm ever going to be. I was just going to some piano here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's gibberish. My Irish family hate it. My granddad used to do an awful one about a guy with a camel, and there's a guy who, I've got to remember this now. He lives out in the desert, and he's got a camel, and his camel goes missing, and so he goes to the police station, which you would if your camel went missing, and he says, "Oh, my camel's gone missing," like, you know, and they're like, "Can you describe your camel for us?" And he says, "Well, it's like a sort of sandy camel colour," and they're like, "That's not really help, you know. Anything else about it?" And he says, "Well, it's got 2 humps on its back." And they're like, "Well, yeah, all camels have. Anything else?" He said, "Oh, I think it's female." I said, "Oh, why do you think that?" He said, "Well, every time I go through town, people go, look at that cunt on the camel." I like that. I think you should watch Murder In Successville. I think it's different, and it's funny, and it's crazy, and it's a risk that's been taken by the BBC to do something different and a bit off the wall, and I think people will enjoy it. I hope they do. It's something that I'm very proud of, and yeah, I hope that when people watch it, they do enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, don't worry about tweeting me and saying how much you hated it, because you wouldn't say it to me in a pub, would you? I'm Tom Davis, and this is BugleMag.com.
Welcome to a town where the famous are infamous.
Oh, here we are, the One Erection boys.
Hey, yo, Lady Gaga.
Where a hardball maverick detective plays by his own rules. Do you think people have sex with my wife behind my back? No. They do. Alongside a rookie cop out of their depth with a murder to solve.
Reese Witherspoon has been found murdered.
Is she dead? This is Successville. Murder in Successville on BBC 3 and BBC 3 HD.